Good evening. My name is Anita Collins, and I'll be talking to you today on the second half of my presentation, Domestic Violence and How It Affects Children. During the first part of my speech, I talked to you about the short-term and long-term effects that domestic violence has on children. I talked to you about how children are affected physically, mentally, emotionally, as well as socially. In today's section, I will talk to you about children growing up in abusive homes. Do children grow up to be abusers themselves when coming from an abusive home? Or will children grow up to enter into a relationship where they are abused on a daily basis by someone they love? Studies have shown that 4 out of every 10 children that grew up in an abusive relationship will actually grow up to abuse their children, or they will enter into a relationship where they are abused by someone they love. Experts feel that abuse is a cycle that is passed down from generation to generation. Meaning, if your parents, mother or father, were abused when they was young and didn't receive help, mostly during the time they will enter into their family, bringing their problems from their past into their home, abusing their children. When children are raised in a home where violence is an everyday thing, they see violence as a way of resolving issues, the abuse will continue. The cycle will never be broken. Living in a household where abuse occurs daily is emotionally affecting than anything. It's nerve-wracking. It's double trouble for the child, so to speak, because you will have abuse coming from the father as well as your mother. Growing up as a child, witnessing your mother and father fighting constantly was more of a way of life, so to speak, for you. You got used to it, so you just tried to block things out, saying that it's okay. When children witness violence between parents and are abused themselves as children, children tend to take their frustration out on other children, resulting in major consequences. Children tend to turn to the streets for love. They tend to engage in gang activities. They begin to get involved in alcohol and drug abuse. All of these things the child look for to find comfort with, to cover up the pain that they are feeling. Children who grow up in an abusive relationship often keep the secret to themselves. They feel like if they tell someone, the abuse will get even greater. So therefore, they don't talk to anyone. They isolate themselves from the outside world. However, there are some children who do feel that they need to speak out. They need to get away from the abuse. So they turn to professionals for help, or they turn to someone that they can trust, for help to help them overcome the pain that they're feeling on the inside. Domestic violence will not go away on its own. It's a problem that affects us locally and nationally as well. It's a problem that needs to be addressed because it's an issue that affects not only the family members, but it affects anyone that come in contact with the children as well. Being a victim of domestic violence myself has caused me to look into research more on how I can help be an advocate for children who has been a victim of domestic violence. There is a great need of support to help those who are victims of domestic violence and who were victims like myself.